What's going on, family? Back again, man. And today I just wanted to talk about a song lyric that always sticks with me every time I hear it, and it's in a song called "Thieves in the Night" by Blackstar. If I'm not ignorant, man, hip hop heads don't kill me because I I love Blackstar, and if I remember correctly, it's Mos Def and Talib Kweli. And there's a line during the chorus going in, and it says that most people aren't good, just well behaved. And that line always, like, I'm like, oh, it's so good. Every time I hear it, I'm like, ah, because it's so true, man. A lot of people claim to be good people, right? Whatever that means, but I think there's a whole problem with looking at things that way in general. But like, well, for the purposes of this video, we'll say that you can be a good person. We'll say that that's a thing, right? And most people like to think that they're good people, right? Like, nobody talks around like, yeah, I'm a complete scumbag, screwing people over, lying all the time. Like, there's very few people out there that admit to living a life like that, right? Most people like to think that they're good people, that I treat people well, I do what I'm supposed to, I'm always there to help people out. And the actual ratio of people out there that are like legitimately good compared to people that are just well behaved because they're afraid of the consequences of not doing what they're supposed to do, I think is fairly disproportionate. Because to me, there's a very big difference between being a good person versus being a well behaved person. To me, a person is good when they do things for others or for the benefit of the world around them because they know that that's the correct thing to do. Like, they do it because it comes from a place of sincerity and genuineness. Like, they feel like this is the proper way to interact with the world, and I want people to feel well. Like I want to feel good, so I know the other people want to feel good, and the world around me matters, so I'm going to do things conducive to propelling both of us forward. I'm going to do things that benefit all of us, versus a well-behaved person who like doesn't act out, and they don't get in trouble, and maybe they do some of the same behaviors that this person does, but their reasoning behind it is like, I just ain't trying to get in trouble, or like, oh, this is going to be more trouble than it's worth if they find out what happens, or just like, they're thinking it from the standpoint of like consequences, and like the only reason they're not a complete piece of garbage or the only reason that they're doing some of these things is because the consequences for them just don't they outweigh what they might potentially get. And I feel like that's dangerous. Like, that's a very utilitarian mindset towards morality. And the reason I say that that's dangerous, right, because that can be so easily flipped. Like, if you're just a well-behaved person, then the minute that like you think you can get away with something or something happens, and that you're like, you know what, nobody's ever going to know that I did this, it's pretty effed up, but nobody's ever going to know. And then they'll do it, like they'll screw somebody over. They'll betray somebody. They'll hurt others and the world around them if they feel like they can get away with it, because it's not coming from a place of sincerity, like it's not coming from, this is what they view as important, like it's not this internalized belief or this internalized thing that means a lot to them. It's just like, the only reason I'm not a complete piece of garbage is because prison exists. Like, that's like, and I know that consequences are important, right? Like, nobody wants negative consequences, and I think that there's people have this sort of thinking, like, especially teenagers, right? Like, everybody goes through this stage, right, where they think like this. At least I'm pretty sure they do. But the goal, right, is to become a sort of like fully realized person that like you do things for the sake of it, like you do it because it's the correct thing, rather than just out of this like the sheepish mentality or cowardice that like, oh, I can't get away with it, so I'll just let that go for now. And that's why that line is so important to me, man. Like, good versus well behaved. Like, somebody that puts on this mask of like, The crazy eyes. Somebody that puts on this mask of like being a decent human being or like a halfway okay person strictly because people are looking, as opposed to them actually being the kind of human being that we should strive to be, you know. And I think it's so dangerous because it can be so easily flipped, and it's I think we all run into somebody like that, man, or maybe we've even been there ourselves before. And if we're honest, man, we know why that's a bad thing. So I just wanted to speak on that. If you guys haven't checked it out, check out the song Blackstar. Not Blackstar, it's the name of the group. Check out the song Thieves in the Night, Mos Def, Talib Kweli. Amazing song. And a lot of other bangers in there as far as lines and stuff too, man. There's a lot of like thinking points and stuff. It's a hella good song. But most people aren't good but well behaved. I think that's extremely true. And I want to be a decent person, you know, even though, again, going back to the thing where I'm trying, what does that even mean? Like, we're all people. Like, I think we're all trying in the sense, but I think that when our actions come from a place of sincerity and genuineness, it gets us a lot farther than that utilitarian mindset. So on that note, man, I'll let you guys go. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Again, in the description, different ways to support the channel, social media, all that other good stuff. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one, man. See you later.